We're getting used to seeing phones with notches, and we're even getting used to seeing phones without notches. So how about something a little bit different? This is the Honor Magic 2, and instead of using a notch or a pop-up camera, this has got a slider. And you look into here for your face unlock, and the camera for your selfies is also hidden away behind a slider. Let's take a closer look at this really cool new phone. You're probably wondering why you need a slide down screen on a smartphone. Well, the answer is actually simple. A notch, apart from often being unattractive, takes away from the screen itself. You lose that full view display that we all crave and manufacturers want to give us. With a slide down screen, you don't have to have the notch at all. You can have this full screen display. And there's a variety of different ways you can do that. And Honor has decided to go for the slide in camera at the top. Now this is physical, you have to move the screen yourself. It's not mechanized like, motorized rather, like you would get on the Oppo Find X or the Vivo Nexus. So you actually have to do this motion yourself, and it's incredibly satisfying. You can probably hear when we move that slider, that wonderful noise. Well, believe me, it feels as good as it sounds when you're doing that, and it is incredibly satisfying. What it's not is actually very easy to do. Sometimes it's rather awkward. In the video here, it's very easy, but this isn't really real life. There are quite often times where it's a bit of a pain, and trying to open this while you're wanting to unlock the phone quickly is a bit of a pain. The other system of unlocking your phone is with a fingerprint sensor. Nicely working there, but believe me, it does not work that well all of the time. We've had to repeatedly add our fingerprint to the sensor to make it work on a consistent basis. That's not a unique problem to the Honor Magic 2. We find that with the vast majority of in-display fingerprint sensors. Yes, this looks ultra modern because it's got that full display and the fingerprint unlock and the slide down screen, but you're going to have to get used to both of these things, and neither as fast as having a fingerprint sensor on the rear. The other advantage, of course, is you're hiding away all of that camera. No notch, you've got to put the selfie cam somewhere, and it's in here just at the top along with various other sensors. It's fast too. There's no need to wait around. As soon as if you leave the selfie camera open and you open the slider, it is instant. Close it again and it goes away. So it's not a complicated, time-consuming process. It's maybe not quite as fast as the Oppo Find X at doing this, but it's still quick enough that we can live with it. The benefit of having no notch is a very large 6.4-inch AMOLED screen on the front of the Honor Magic 2, and it's beautiful. As you'd expect from an AMOLED screen, it's wonderful at contrast, colours and black levels. This has got a full HD plus resolution, and it's really quite stunning to look at. We've got a dark wallpaper on here, so let's change the wallpaper so you can see the bezels around the side. Let's apply that there and come out again, and you can see that there is a chin just along the bottom here, and there are bezels around the screen, but with the right wallpaper it really disappears, and this just looks like a completely full display on the front of the phone, and it's not far off. Certainly none of this is intrusive, and with the slider open you can see the difference that makes to the size of the phone. You can see at the edge there that it pokes out the bottom and then pokes out the top and then slides away like that. So what do you think? Worth it to have this wonderful full display and a slider instead of a notch? Yeah, we think it's worth it. This looks absolutely superb. Around the back of the phone, anyone who's seen a Huawei P20 Pro will be familiar with this kind of visual setup. 2 camera bumps and 3 camera lenses inside. Interestingly, Honor has retained the monochrome sensor that has now disappeared from Huawei phones. You've got a 24 megapixel dedicated monochrome lens. You've got a 16 megapixel RGB lens and a 16 megapixel ultra wide lens. So you can take wide angle photos with this, and you can take proper monochrome pictures. We missed that on the Mate 20 Pro and loved it on the P20 Pro. So it's really nice to see the latest Honor phone retain those specifications in this camera bump on the rear. You can see there that it's not huge and it's offset from the side. On the front there are also 3 camera lenses. Yes, a triple lens selfie setup. There's a 16 megapixel main lens and then 2 megapixel lenses to do all sorts of other cool bokeh effects and portrait mode effects and lighting effects and, well, pretty much any effect you can think of for your selfies. This is a 6 camera lens smartphone. Think about that for a minute. There was a time when 2 camera lenses was something to shout about. Now we've got 6 on a single smartphone. What else is there to know about the Honor Magic 2? Well, this is a high performance smartphone. It has the Kirin 980 processor inside, which we've seen in other Huawei devices, for example, the Mate 20 Pro. It has 8 gigabytes of RAM, there's plenty of storage space, there's a dual SIM slot. You've got everything. You're not going to be left wanting in terms of camera or performance. But this is an import smartphone. You can't buy this in stores in the USA or in the UK, which means you're going to have to put up with things like import duties, concerns over warranties, and so on. Our phone, when it arrived, didn't have Google services installed, but they were able to be quickly and easily installed using Huawei's own app store that was installed on the device. These are things you're going to have to put up with if you're going to want the Magic 2. There's other things to like as well. There's a USB charging port at the bottom, and this uses incredibly fast charging. We had this at around 50%, plugged it in for 20 minutes or so, and it was back up to full. So there's plenty of charging power too. The device itself, well, it feels wonderful. This is a glass body. We love this gradient finish that you can just about see in the light here. This is blue at the bottom and then fades into an almost chrome silver at the top, and it looks great. It also feels fantastic in the hand. It's quite weighty, but that gives it heft and presence when you hold it. It really is a wonderful smartphone to use and to hold. On the subject of using, this uses Magic UI 2.0, which is actually EMUI in disguise. It works in exactly the same way as it does on the Huawei Mate 20 Pro and the P20 and every other Huawei phone released very recently. It's version 9 over the top of Android 9, so it is quite up to date. And you've got, as you saw in the recent sort of flipping through here, it has gestures just like we've been using on the P20 Pro, and they're quite nice. It's certainly swift as you move backwards and forwards through the operating system. You can see that this is very pleasant to use. It's definitely one of the best gesture control systems we've used recently outside of iOS. If you followed the launch of the Honor Magic 2, you may have seen talk of a virtual assistant called YoYo. Well, YoYo is present on the Honor Magic 2, but YoYo only speaks Chinese. So if you don't, you're not going to get very far with YoYo. It is possible to put Google Assistant on here as a separate app, but out of the box, because it's an import phone, it's not going to have that. You're going to have to make the effort to do it yourself. However, we're going to show you what YoYo could do, because it also demonstrates another feature of that cool slide down screen. When you slide it down, you can assign different tasks, perhaps to open the selfie camera, but in this case we use it for YoYo, or would if we spoke Chinese. So here YoYo appears as a little pop-up blob, and you can tap that and speak to YoYo, or you can expand to have the full YoYo virtual assistant experience. Now, it's a bit of a shame that YoYo doesn't work in English yet, because in the demos it was really good, and we've seen sort of subsequent examples of YoYo's interaction and the voice recognition and just the interaction in general, and it's very effective. You can see there YoYo has been listening and doesn't really know what I'm talking about, because poor YoYo does not speak English yet and I don't speak Chinese. So that's a bit of a shame, but it does demonstrate what you can do with the slide down screen, and you don't necessarily have to assign it to the selfie camera. A really nice additional feature that unfortunately demonstrates one we can't use just at the moment. So, YoYo's inability to speak English and the various hoops you have to jump through to get the software right aside, what if you want the Magic 2? And to be honest, it is a great smartphone. It's definitely one of the best Honor phones we've tried. It isn't, however, the sort of price we expect for an Honor smartphone. This is quite expensive. You're going to have to import it. And the cheapest model, the 6GB version with 128GB of storage, well, that's about $550. And to get the 8GB version with 256GB of storage, you're going to have to pay about $630. That's at the minimum. That's regular price in China converted over. And usually an importer will charge you a little bit more for their services. So you're going to have to splash out for one of these. However, when you think about that price, it's not all that different to what you'll pay for a OnePlus 6T. So it is, in terms of value, still very good. There are some things we don't quite like. I'm not sure about that in-display fingerprint sensor, but we adore the full screen display and the excellent array of cameras. There's real creative ability with the Magic 2. So that is a smartphone that isn't available in the USA that we actually wish was, and we really want YoYo to speak some more languages or us to learn Chinese so we can use it. That's the Honor Magic 2.